Good morning and welcome to Virtual Creation Studio here in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. We are delighted to have mortgage specialist Margaret Armsworthy with the Bank of Montreal here to join with us to talk about some pretty interesting topics, definitely getting a lot of calls on these topics, and what Bank of Montreal is doing that other lending institutions are kind of not doing. And so welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
Yeah, and we've known Margaret a long time. She was with Manulife Bank for how many years?
8 years.
8 years. And so the Bank of Montreal were very smart to snag her away and take them over to Bank of Montreal. So interesting times, Margaret. As you know, people are concerned, I guess, with the interest rate rising and the difficulty of getting mortgages. So the first topic, and I'm sure you get it all the time, rates and affordability and penalties. So what's going on out there? What are you hearing on the ground?
Yeah, and it's interesting because we are in a very volatile market. The rates are increasing. And I think it's all relative because it really means that mortgage specialists just have to have a better conversation with clients to find out what are they really looking to do. Rate is always important, but it's always good to have a really good conversation with them and find out what they're looking to do with their mortgage so that we can match the mortgage, and then we'll look at the rate, because sometimes clients are looking to consolidate debt. Maybe they're looking to get into a home, but they're not sure how long they'll be there. Maybe they need a shorter term. Maybe they need something more variable. So it's really key to have those important conversations.
Well, speaking of variable rates and fixed rates, we get it at our office all the time. Oh, what should we have? And every customer, of course, is different. But what would your recommendations be as an expert in the field on variable versus fixed?
Great question. And Paul and I talked about this earlier. I was in a room filled with mortgage specialists about 2 weeks ago. We were asked this question, whether fixed or variable was better. Not one of us chose fixed, but that's us. I always have a conversation with the clients and I ask them, how do they feel? I can't make that decision for them. So I will ask clients, if you go to sleep at night, are you going to sleep if you have a variable rate? And if clients say, oh, no, I couldn't do that, fixed it is. It would be fixed. But it's really something that I really, want to talk to the clients and get a feel for what their comfort level is.
And it's very important, too, that they have conversations with people that do understand the differences between the two and be able to explain it to the clients. Sometimes, in our industry where we work at Atlantic Business Federation, we have people calling up and we always say come in and have a chit chat or talk, and that's why it's so important to. Nothing against call centers and 1-800 numbers and stuff like that. I'm sure they do a good job, but when you have Margaret, and we know this from experience, when we have Margaret talk to clients, they really come back with a full understanding of what they're getting into, and you do a great job of that. You really do.
Thank you.
So when we're talking about what separates Bank of Montreal from other lenders, and we're not knocking other lenders, but we're just saying that Bank of Montreal have introduced kind of a new sales specialty group. I guess instead of just a typical mortgage analysis, they have a kind of a separate division, which Margaret is in charge of in PEI anyway. The new niches, if you will, and 4 of those would be land purchases, mini homes, 4-door apartment buildings, and construction loans. And we get these type of questions all the time, but a lot of times most lenders kind of steer away from those. But Bank of Montreal have kind of taken it and bang, they're right in there. So of those 4, maybe you can touch base on all 4 of those topics and how Bank of Montreal are doing it. I'm not saying better, but they definitely are doing it more aggressively than other lenders, for sure.
Well, and it's interesting because Bank of Montreal, a lot of times people weren't aware that we would do a mini home mortgage, or if we would do an apartment mortgage. But that's something that I haven't come across much that BMO won't do. So
No.
it's really exciting that way. Bank of Montreal, I mean, even, someone's looking to purchase land to do a construction in the next year or two, we can help them purchase that land so that they're not maybe depleting all of their cash to purchase it. Mini homes on leased land, those are often a challenge to get financed. That's something that we do. The apartment buildings, it's really interesting because we actually will do market rental offsets if a client has additional rental properties. So sometimes that can be a challenge getting someone financed if they have more than one rental property. So that is something that BMO does and does very well. And constructions, I mean, I just finished 2, and it's actually a pretty seamless process at BMO.
Yeah, and again, speaking from experience from other places, they're really not touching any of these 4 as seamless as Bank of Montreal and Margaret are doing. So we definitely recommend reaching out to Margaret or reaching out to ourselves and having a discussion because it's very important. And if you have the right fit, well, put it on. And there's other programs that are coming out in Prince Edward Island. There's kind of a new, it's not really new, but it's expanded a little bit. It's called the Down Payment Assistance Program. There was some major problems with it maybe a year and a half ago. It was only at $250,000 and you couldn't really find a place. So they have made some major improvements to it, and they've increased it up to $350,000, which is definitely more reasonable. And the program coordinator is fantastic to deal with. So a lot of people are not talking about it, but maybe we'll ask Margaret what she thinks of the program and what her reaction is to the changes that have just come out in the last 7 months or so.
Yeah, and it is a fantastic program. It is a way for individuals to get into the housing market if they don't have their down payment saved. They do have to have their closing costs saved, but the gentleman Bruce at the province, he's fantastic to deal with, and it is an ideal way so that you don't have to save up that 5%, which may take another year or two to save those funds. So you're able to get that down payment assistance program and qualify for that. It is fantastic, and there are other programs too. If you did have your down payment saved, then there is a CMHC program as well. It's really great. It's really ideal to seek the advice of a professional and find out about what programs are out there and what would match your particular situation.
Yeah, again, getting back to why people will talk to a professional or somebody that's in the industry as opposed to going online and talking to a so-called expert. We both live in Prince Edward Island. We deal with this stuff every day, and it's very important to get what affects Islanders and not somebody in Ontario and Alberta and BC. They're certainly great people, but we have to look after our clients here in PEI. And sometimes the programs that are affecting Islanders, they aren't even available in other provinces. So the down payment assistance program is a great program. It's not utilized as much, and then when people do utilize it, they're maybe not getting the right advice. They might be buying like mini homes that are on rented land and that type of thing, where they're really not allowed to do that. So it's best to give us a call, and then we can work those details out. The other question that we got a lot of calls actually in the last 3 or 4 weeks, and we appreciate the messages on our Facebook page and our other pages and our website. But there seems to be an influx of new to Canada and non-residents, and people are asking what you need as far as a visa, whether you have a working visa compared to a permanent resident card, and what options are available. And again, there are few lenders that are doing those programs, we're really, really pleased that Bank of Montreal are leading the charge in those particular genres, especially the New to Canada program and the non-residents. So, Margaret, if you have a chance to kind of elaborate on what I just said, sure. How is that going? And B, are you seeing more of an increase in those type of applicants?
And we are seeing a huge increase in those type of applicants because non-resident, we are able to do non-resident mortgages. They're a lot more detailed, requiring more of a down payment, but it is something that we still are able to do. And individuals who are new to Canada, there's been the perception that they have to have their PR card, so their permanent residency card, but we are able to do a mortgage for clients who do have a working visa. So they can have a work visa living in Canada, and we are able to get them into a home. And I see a huge growth in that market.
Yeah, we do
it's especially maybe in some of the rural areas because it's a little bit more affordable, but individuals are they're coming here, they're settling here, and it's really exciting to help them get into their first home in Canada.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see an influx more of that. We've done quite a few of those in the last year and a half or 2 years, but it's been for financial advisors, it has been difficult to find that fit. But now we've got a major lender that's willing to do those, and that helps our job immensely. So speaking of how people can get a hold of Margaret and how they can get involved in the lender referral program, thank you, it's a tongue twister, but how people can get a hold of the lender referral program and what advantages that would be to financial advisors, and especially for their clients. And
it's something that I've been doing mortgages for 22 years.
It's a pretty experience.
My expertise has always been working with financial advisors and their clients. That's really kind of my niche. And so I was really excited that BMO had this program, so you can become part of our lending referral program. And that'd be something you can reach out to myself, you can talk to Paul and find out more about that. But that's really been, that's really where I get my referrals.
Yeah, and it's a great program because you don't want to have your clients coming in and they just don't fit that cookie cutter mode that seems to be prevalent in the industry. And it's nice to see a lender like BMO think outside the box or think outside the lines of the cookie cutter. And there's a lot of people that fit into those lines. And it's great to see Margaret, somebody that's experienced, and not just experienced by a couple of years, but she's been in the industry for, I know she only is 22 years old, but she started when she was 10. But no, the reality is with that much experience, you're in really, really capable hands. So Margaret, we really appreciate you coming in and spending some time. And we'll put all of the information and Margaret's contact information in the links below, as well as some of the links to the programs that might be available, like the down payment assistance program and CMHC and what have you. So follow up on that. We'll have the contact information there, and we really encourage people to reach out and get in touch if you have questions, even if mortgages is not here today, but something that you want to plan for next year or the year after. It's better to start the planning with an expert now than putting it off. Sometimes planning is the best thing. So. Again, thank you, and
thanks for having me.
And we'll have her back again, and we'll touch base on some other topics in the near future. So be safe out there, and thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.